What is going on, trainers? Drumvillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP goodness, and Season 9 is here. Season 8 is done, it's all wrapped up. I hope you guys managed to hit your targets, hit your goals, or at least hope that you're improving towards those goals with each passing season. We were able to climb back up above the 3,000 rating mark with the Ultra League team that didn't have any XLs in it, which you can check out. It's my previous video to this one. If you're curious about that, it should still be useful in this season as it hasn't been affected by the move updates that they've made for this season. With the exception that now Gyarados is slightly stronger because the Crunch has a chance to apply a defense debuff to your opponent when it's used. Now in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the new, well, it's not a new Pokemon, but it's got new move. It got access to Shadow Claw this season, which makes it 1,000 times more viable in PvP than it was before, and that is Cofagrigus. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. I could say a million different ways. I'm not going to offend your ears like that, but we do have this shiny one that we caught in the Halloween event a couple of years ago when it was actually released as a shiny, and it turned out that was our best PvP IV one we had lying around. So we're going to try it out in some battles here, and these are going to be in the Remix Cup. Now, for those not in the know, the Remix Cup is a format in the Great League in which some of the most popular Pokemon and some of the most overpowered Pokemon in the Great League meta have been banned from use. This creates a new interesting meta, especially since there aren't things like Azumarill and Galarian Stunfisks that eliminate a lot of potential choices for the Great League because they're so common and they're so strong. Now, there have been quite a few move updates made for this season and a few Pokemon have been given new moves, but we're going to focus on Cofagrigus in this video today, and then we'll probably look at a few others moving forward as we climb the earlier ranks. As a lot of you guys know, early on in the season when you're in the lower ranks, the battles can be a lot more spicy. You can run into a lot more interesting and different things that you might never see once you reach the higher ranks again, because they're just not that relevant in a hardcore meta. But it's fun to play up against them in the early ranks, and also you never know who you're going to run into because everyone's back to step one. You could play someone who's hit legend rank every season. Up to this point in your first match, you could play someone that's never actually battled before in the Go Battle League. So you never know what you're going to see. It's always a lot of fun. So according to simulations on PvPoke, Cofagrigus is best spent in the back. It makes a very, very strong closer because it's got hard hitting charge moves, and it's got a decent amount of bulk as well, especially for a ghost type. A lot of the ghost types are quite squishy in Go Battle League, but Cofagrigus has reasonable bulk. It's not super heavy, not super heavyweight, but it can take a hit. And we're going to pair the Coffee Man. We're calling him the Coffee Man now because I'm not going to keep trying to pronounce his name. I'm probably getting it wrong. I'm probably mastering it. So he's Coffee Man now. I'm going to pair Coffee Man up with Registeel because Coffee Man struggles with normal types such as Wigglytuff and Pidgeot, and Registeel shuts both of those down pretty well. And we're also pairing it up with Shadow Machamp. Shadow Machamp is a fantastically strong safe swap in the Great League. It can put a lot of pressure on a lot of Pokemon, and that counter damage is absolutely relentless. As always, don't forget to subscribe, guys, if you are not one of the absolute legends that's already hit that subscribe button, and let's jump into some battles. So let's jump into our first matchup and see what we managed to pull. Well, the first matchup we're going to talk about, we've already shown a couple of games at the beginning of the video, but we pull a Swoobat lead, and that is very spicy to say the least. The opponent swaps out into an Absol, so we're going to go straight for the Focus Blast and then swap to Machamp to farm this thing down. But maybe they're not going to expect us to have Focus Blast. Bang! Get out of there, Absol. One-shots it, and the opponent surrenders. Like, it's satisfying to one-shot a Pokemon with a Focus Blast, but also you feel kind of bad if the opponent didn't realise that Registeel could learn Focus Blast. But GG's all the same. So we're going to jump straight into the next matchup against Meat Feast. Was that Meat Feast 89 or 69? Either way, nice. I love a Meat Feast pizza. And we've got a Mr. Mime lead. Again, this is a great lead for Registeel. You're resisting the Psychic moves and any Fairy moves it might have. They swap into a Lapras. We're going to go for the same tactic. Straight for a Focus Blast. Are they expecting it? They are. We get a shield, and now we're going to bring in our Shadow Machamp. This Lapras is running Frost Breath rather than Ice Shard, which means it gets to charge moves a lot slower, but it does do a lot more damage. You can see it's really chipping away at our Machamp. So we're just going to farm it down. I'm surprised it didn't even get a single charge move off. They bring in a Bomber Snow. So we're just going to throw a Rock Slide at this. This is going to do massive damage. Smash to pieces. Pour a Bomber Snow there. I'm going to bring in Cofagrigus, Coffee Man, We're going to farm down and we're just going to yeet a Shadow Ball at this Mr. Mime. It deserves a yeet at this point. We're going to absolutely annihilate this Mr. Mime. Bang! Get out of there. It's going to be a good game. We do get some matchups where Coffee Boy actually gets to put some work in and shine and show what it can do. But when it's rank 1, when you're in these early battles, you never know what you're going to run up against. And in this matchup, we pull a Cypher lead. Again, a brilliant lead for Registeel. You can take any move it's got to throw at you. Even the Night Slash, it's just going to do not much at all. This opponent's going to swap out to a Charizard. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw a charge move, see if we can pressure a shield off of this opponent before we swap. Now we're going to bring in Coffee Boy and let's see if we can put some work in. We assume this is a Dragon Claw because they threw it very, very quickly. But we're going to shield it either way because we weren't sure how bulky Coffee Man actually was at this point. We're just going to throw a Shadow Ball. This probably will one-shot Charizard if it goes through, but we do get a shield. That's fine. I think we're going to let this go at this point. No, we're going to shield. We were a little worried about getting Blast Burned. We didn't want to lose switch advantage, and we figured we could get to the Shadow Ball here, and this is going to take out this Charizard. A bit of overkill probably there. And let's see what they've got in back. It's an attack form Deoxys. Comes in for a split second, and did you see the damage those Shadow Claws were doing? They were hitting it for like 25% of its health per Shadow Claw. That's absolutely ballistic. And we're just going to come back in with Registeel against this Scyther and probably get to a Flash Cannon, take this thing out. And then we realised that we've now got Machamp and a bit of Registeel against this Defense Deoxys. Not Defense Deoxys, sorry, Attack Deoxys. And it's at the CP, it's at 1500 CP around, so it is powered up to the point. And when he threw the Psycho Boost, I had a heart attack because I really thought, oh no, if he's got 2 Psycho Boosts, that would probably one-shot a Shadow Machamp, even with the attack debuff that it comes with. But we're able to farm down with counter, and my heart can sink back down out of my throat, back into my chest, because I was like, oh no, I'm going to get absolutely annihilated and swept by this attack form Deoxys. Super spicy, but good lord, that thing is very, very, very squishy. Able to take a 5-0 in the first set of the season. Start as you mean to go on. You know, we're going to start the second set and we pull a Clefable lead. This is the dream. You really want to catch a Charmer with this Registeel because it would absolutely annihilate your Machamp in the back, and there's a good chance that they're weak to something like Machamp in the back if they're leading Clefable. They swap in a Diggersby, we throw the Focus Blast, they let it through. Huge damage, and now we're going to bring in Machamp. Farm this down, we don't need to shield this, it's just a Fire Punch. They didn't have time to get to an Earthquake, and we're just going to go ahead, throw the Rock Slide at this Clefable before we go down. It'll do a nice chunk of damage. It doesn't matter all that much to get that damage off because a Flash Cannon from Registeel is going to one-shot the Clefable either way, but it's nice to get that damage in case you find yourself stuck and you need Coffee Boy to do some work with the Shadow Claws and finish it off that way. They're staying in with Clefable, so we're going to go ahead and throw this Flash Cannon, see if they want to let it go. They shield the Clefable, which now makes me think maybe they're actually weak to Registeel in the back, and they're putting in some work with those charms. Like Charm, whether it's resisted or not, will just start to put some serious work in. They decide to swap out and get ahead on energy with Coffee Boy, and they've got a Shiftry in the back, and this is pretty scary because we're in range of getting took out by one move with the Shiftry on Registeel. So we're going to build up, we're going to throw a Psychic, and we're not sure why we throw this. We should really throw the Shadow Ball. We get the defense drop, which is kind of nice, but also Registeel would one-shot either way with Focus Blast, but it's enough to mean that this Shadow Ball will then take out the Shiftry and we take the win. GG. We did let the charge move through from Shiftry, by the way, because they only threw 3 Snarls, so we knew that it was going to be a Leaf Blade and not a Dark Pulse, sorry, a Foul Play, which would one-shot Coffee Boy if we let it through. So, next matchup, we pull a Sneasel lead, and I think Sneasel has the potential to have reasonable play. It's got a decent moveset, but it's got to watch out for the fighters and for the steals. They swap out to a Gyarados, and we hesitate for a second and throw a Flash Cannon, but we still get a shield out of the Gyarados, and this is good for us because this means that if we have to, we can double shield to guarantee getting to 2 charge moves to take out this Gyarados. The Gyarados does an Outrage, and that would have definitely taken us out, so a good shield there. It makes me suspect that this might be a one-moved Gyarados. They don't shield the Psychic, we're able to farm them down, so we've got switch advantage. Sneasel comes in, and I figure Sneasel might actually get a decent farm on us here. I don't know how bulky Sneasel is in the Great League. That Shadow Ball, Sneasel is not that bulky, it turns out, in the Great League. Absolutely smashed to pieces by that Shadow Ball, and they throw a return, which is double resisted on Coffee Man. So we're just going to come in with Registeel, and I think we're going to commit to a farm down here. Yeah, very aggressive farm down, but we're able to get it off, and they've got a Charizard in the back. We've got Shadow Machamp, so we're going to throw this Flash Cannon hoping to get the shield, which we do. We're going to swap into Machamp. We can shield whatever they throw at us, get to this Rock Slide, and it's going to one-shot the Charizard. It'd probably one-shot 3 Charizards. A Rock Slide from a Shadow Machamp. They throw an Overheat, which lowers their defense. So even if they did happen to get to another move and take out the Machamp, the Registeel could then probably survive long enough to take out the Charizard due to their attack debuff. That's going to be a good game. So, Gabriel, Pancha, 12, and we've got a Hypno lead. Hypno lead is generally good for Registeel, but Hypno's pretty bulky, even the Shadow variant, and they can have Fire Punch, they can have Focus Blast. So you got to be counting how many confusions they throw, because if you get one shot by a Focus Blast from a Hypno, like not many run it, but some of them do. We know that this is not able to be a Focus Blast. They didn't throw enough confusions, and since they've thrown a Thunder Punch, we figure it's going to be another Thunder Punch. Like, why would they throw Thunder Punch if they had Fire Punch, for example? So we're just going to throw another Flash Cannon here and see what they want to do. We're going to get a shield out of them, so now we figure we're going to swap. We're going to swap and see what we can pull out of the back, and they've got a Shadow Snorlax. And Shadow Snorlax is a lot less bulky in the Great League than it is in other leagues, but it's still pretty bulky. It takes that Psychic, no sweat. A second Psychic would threaten it, and we don't have to shield this move. We were expecting probably a Body Slam. If it was going to be something like an Earthquake, we'd have accepted it and then farmed down with Machamp. We get a shield, so now we're up 2 shields in this matchup. So can we win this game? We decide to bring in Registeel, and I'm not super sure why. I think just to absorb the energy, and the opponent brings in Hypno because we swap aggressively into Machamp to farm down the Snorlax, and we throw a Cross Chop, get this thing out of here, and they've got a Wigglytuff in the back, and we're going to get charmed down. We've got 2 shields. We're just going to lose with 2 shields here. And sometimes it's worth shielding those moves like Thunder Punches early on in the game, because you don't know what your opponent's got in the back. Registeel, with what if it had shielded one of those Thunder Punches, would have had enough health to get to a Flash Cannon, and take out that Wigglytuff and take the win. But it's going to be a good game. Taking our first loss of the season, and now we've pulled a Haunter lead. And Haunter lead is actually pretty scary for our team. Coffee Boy is probably our best answer, just because the Shadow Claws will chip it down, but also we will get chipped down by the Shadow Claws from Haunter as well. They swap out to a Mandibuzz to catch our Flash Cannon, which we don't mind throwing at Mandibuzz because we want to get Machamp on this thing, but also it's nice to have that extra bit of damage already done, so then we can take them out with this Cross Chop, have energy in the back to threaten that Haunter and get a shield out of them, because we should be able to make it just to a Rock Slide here if the Haunter does come back in. Yet, 1 counter, throw this Rock Slide. This would one-shot if they let this through. Hopefully they let it through, and they do. Bang! Haunter gets absolutely annihilated, and they've got a Ninetales in the back. So they're obviously hoping to line that up with our Registeel. And we're going to come in with Coffee Boy and start doing some work here. We're just going to go straight for this Psychic. Maybe get a defense drop on them. We don't. Now we're going to swap out to Registeel. Pressure them to dump this energy, because they were building up a lot of energy against our Coffee Man. And we figure Registeel's kind of a sack at this point. It's not our win condition, so we swap it in. So the Ninetales is pressured to dump its energy. We're going to get to this Flash Cannon all the same, which is really nice for us. We probably will get a shield for this because the Ninetales is starting to get low. And now we should just be able to get to a Psychic or a Shadow Ball. Both should be enough to take out this Ninetales and give us the win. We should shield, this should shield whatever they throw at us now, just in case it's running Overheat or something. The Weather Ball would do good damage. Wouldn't one-shot. I think it would probably do about 40-45% of the health. But the Shadow Ball is going to absolutely wipe out the Ninetales, and that's going to be a GG. Some of these matchups absolutely flying by in these early sets, but if you get the lineup right, Shadow Machamp, if it's lined up on something it's super effective with, can counter things down in seconds. It is scary strong. So taking a 4-1 in set number 2 in the season. So we're heading into the 3rd set, and this is where we start seeing some more robust matchups and some of the more meta things that you're probably going to see in Great League and Great League Remix, and we actually pull a Feraligatr lead, and they swap out, and I was worried they were going to have, I think they can learn Waterfall as a fast move, and Feraligatr with Waterfall will put good work in against a Registeel. It'll just be chipping away, and I think Feraligatr can probably take a Focus Blast, maybe. It can definitely take a Flash Cannon because it's resisted, but they swap out to a regular Ninetales, and we swap in Cofagrigus. We're not really sure why we chose him, we just wanted to bring him in and see how he could do in this matchup. Obviously we're going to be outpaced quite substantially to these Weather Balls. Ninetales is quite a spammy Pokemon, but we're able to we're either going to get both shields out of him, we've spent both shields, or we're going to take switch, so they choose to shield up, and they swap out last second into their Feraligatr, and it is a Waterfall Feraligatr. So we're not sure why they actually swapped out at the beginning of the game, because I think it's a good matchup. Maybe, I don't know, but will this one shot? It depends. If there's one shots, then I can understand why they'd want to swap out. Maybe they just got two good answers to Registeel in the back. We swap in Machamp to get ahead on energy, and they've got a Sylveon in the back. This is kind of scary, so I don't know why they swapped out of Feraligatr and risked actually losing swap advantage and having this thing lined up with our Registeel. But we might just be able to make it to a... Oh god, this is going to be very, very close. The Ninetales swaps in just as we throw the Flash Cannon, but we're happy to throw that there and get that thing out of there. It's going to be super close. We're going to make it to a move. I'm sure that Sylveon could have made it to a Psyshock by that point. If it had Psyshock, maybe it had one of the bigger nuke moves and didn't have enough energy. But I thought we'd lost that game. But it's going to be a GG. And for the record, I think if someone swaps in a Ninetales to your Registeel, I think Machamp is the better answer to it. Cofagrigus just gets outpaced too heavily there, and we were lucky to get both shields out of him for that. Now, Nidoqueen. Coffee Man, one of Cofagrigus' best matchups is Nidoqueen because it resists the poison jabs, it resists the poison fangs, it can survive an earth power very comfortably, and when it's got psychic, it can essentially one-shot. They swap into an Obstagoon, we're going to throw the Focus Blast, bang! They don't shield, Obstagoon gets absolutely annihilated. We were going to swap in Machamp to that thing, and we decide once they bring in Frostlass that we might as well, because the Machamp has very little play against Nidoqueen anyway, so we might as well sacrifice the Machamp to absorb some energy from the Frostlass, and then throw this Flash Cannon at it. We know we want to save Coffee Man for Nidoqueen, and we know Machamp's got no play, so it makes sense to sacrifice it there because we figured we could comfortably catch a move or pressure the Frostlass to throw a move. And Registeel has a very good matchup against Frostlass in general. We can one-shot it with the Flash Cannon. I think at this point we might let it go, yeah. We're going to see if they want to throw an Avalanche, and they do, so we actually survived that, which is absolutely huge. We're going to swap in to Coffee Man now and get ahead on energy. We should shield this up because the Shadow Ball would absolutely one-shot us. That's fine, and now we think we can farm down. Oh, that's aggressive. We're quite close, but it works out really well for us. And now we can throw a Psychic at this Nidoqueen. We're going to see how much damage it actually does. Okay, that's big damage. And I believe if that was a Shadow Nidoqueen, that would probably one-shot. But we're very happy for the damage that it does do against a regular Nidoqueen. Another Psychic finishes it off. Good game. As you can see, Cofagrigus is just absolutely walling Nidoqueen off there. Not much they could do. If they had have made it to an Earth Power, we would have survived it. So, next matchup up against Danny Mag, and we get a Alolan Raichu lead. And this is an awful lead for our team. Alolan Raichu does very well against Registeel, and it does well against Shadow Machamp. But for some reason they swap out into a Diggersby, so we're going to throw the Flash Cannon, hit it for huge damage, and then farm down with Machamp before they even get a move off. That is absolutely bananas. They bring in a Galarian Slowbro in the back, so it's going to be resisting the counters. We're going to go ahead and throw this Rock Slide, does massive damage, and now we're getting the Slowbro pretty low, so they're going to have to throw to get us out of here. And we're just going to save Coffee Boy for the Raichu in the back because the Shadow Claws will be hitting for super effective, and Raichu is pretty squishy. We're just going to build up a ton of energy here because we don't feel threatened by any charge move that Galarian Slowbro can have. We forget it has Focus Blast. We get smashed to pieces. It doesn't matter. We can farm down. Cofagrigus is our win con here. Just going to shield these charge moves up, and we can probably just Shadow Claw down this entire team at this point. There's no way the Slowbro has any energy left to do anything to us. We let that through, assuming that it can't be a wild charge, and we're kind of lucky that it wasn't, and we just farmed down. Good game. Never forget that Galarian Slowbro has Focus Blast, because, good lord, I felt a little bit of egg on my face when I got one-shotted there. Right, next matchup, a Abomasnow lead. Fantastic lead for Registeel. It resists all the moves. Flash Cannon did one shot, Focus Blast did one shot. You've got nothing to stress about at all. You can let this through. It could even be a Blizzard, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't, I mean, it'd hurt, but it wouldn't one shot. They come in with a Melmetal. We're going to go straight for the Focus Blast. Are they going to let this through? Are they going to shield? Bang! Absolutely smashed to pieces. Get out of there, Melmetal. And now they bring in a Abomasnow, and since their switch clock is nowhere near up, we're going to swap Machamp in aggressively to this Abomasnow, put some work in, shield up and farm it down. Now we've got a lot of energy to see what they've got in the back. And I think it was a Grass and Poison type I saw. I didn't see which one exactly it was. It's a Roserade, so this is going to be able to put some work in here. The Weather Ball's quite spammy. It's super effective against Registeel, but also Registeel is very bulky, and I think it can survive 2 Weather Balls without having to shield, and then the third one will probably KO. We're going to bring in Cofagrigus just in case they want to throw a Leaf Storm. We're not going to shield. We can easily take 2 Weather Balls on this thing as well. Like I said, we're pressuring them to throw that Leaf Storm because that'll lower their attack and make it even harder for them to take out Registeel. We're just going to stay in here, and if they... We're still not going to shield this, we're going to let this go. If it's a Weather Ball, we'll survive. It is a Leaf Storm, so that does take us out, and Roserade's attack drops through the floor, and we can just make it to a Flash Cannon and finish off. We might even be able to lock on down, actually, before we even make it to the Flash Cannon. Look at that, the Weather Ball doing almost nothing now that it's debuffed. We found down, and that's going to be a GG. Coffee Boy doing some good work, but really that was all about Registeel and Machamp dominating in that game. So jumping into the next matchup, and what have we got on lead? We've got a Drifblim. And Drifblim's a pretty good lead, I'd say, for Registeel. They kind of go toe-to-toe with each other, these two, but you're resisting the Icy Winds, which they're pressured to throw to lower your attack, and they definitely threw too soon for it to be a Shadow Ball, so we definitely don't have to shield. The Flash Cannon do good damage. I think it's just less than 50% because we're debuffed, but also, yeah, just less. But then it hits the yellow straight after, so really with another Flash Cannon we can then actually just farm down with lock-ons. And since they're just going for straight Icy Wind, we're not worried about shielding. They swap into, what was that they swapped into there to catch? Well, we throw the Focus Blast. Oh, it's a cast form, and we hit for massive damage with that Focus Blast, even though we're double debuffed. We're going to swap in Machamp. We don't need to show this, it'll be a Weather Ball. It must have been the Rock type Weather Ball for it to be not very effective, which Cast Form does have access to a Rock type Weather Ball as well as normal type Weather Ball. But Weather Ball also got nerfed at the start of this season, got reduced from 60 damage to 55 because obviously Pokemon like Politoed and Alolan Ninetales and Pelipper have been dominating with that Weather Ball spam, so I think it was necessary to nerf it a little bit. We get some major Go Battle lag going on there. I don't know if either of us got any moves on either side there. They throw the charge move, we're not going to shield. They have to throw again if they want to take us out. We're not feeling too pressured to shield this. I think we could probably farm down with Coffee Boy here. Yeah, we're going to come in and Shadow Claw this thing down. We've got a 2 shield advantage, so this is probably worth shielding because it's probably a Power Whip at this point. No, it's another Mirror Shot, but still worth a shield in case it wasn't a Mirror Shot. Let's see what they got in the back. Oh, it's the Drifblim, of course, from the start. And Coffee Boy, these moves are, well, the Shadow Ball's not resisted, super effective. Takes it out, of course. That was going to be a very, very comfortable win and a GG. So we're able to take another 5-0 with this team, and you might be thinking, well, you're just running very, very meta Pokemon, so of course you're going to be taking 5-0s. And yeah, true, we are running a fairly meta team with Registeel and Shadow Machamp, but also we want to find good teams to put these Pokemon into and find Pokemon that complement them well. So I'm happy that this team is performing as well as I hoped it initially would do. Now, we've cherry-picked some games where I think we really got to see Cofagrigus shine, so let's take a look at this matchup in which we've got a Mandibuzz lead. So Mandibuzz and Registeel are very evenly matched in the Great League. They're both very strong picks, and we like to see Mandibuzz on the lead against Registeel because Mandibuzz would wall the energy off from Cofagrigus. It resists the Shadow Claws, the Psychic, and the Shadow Ball. So we're just going to stay in here with Registeel. Machamp does well against Mandibuzz, which not everybody realises because it's a fighter and Mandibuzz is part flying type. but because the counters are neutral and the rock slides are super effective, the damage is very, very oppressive over time and really does chip away. And because Mandibles has to throw Aerial Ace, which is an absolutely awful charge move, Machamp does very, very well in that matchup. But we don't want to swap out because we don't want to risk getting Coffee Boy lined up with this thing. We're going to stay in. We've already got an excess shield out of him, and if we want to get another charge move off, we have to shield here. We decide we're going to let it go, come in with Machamp and start putting some work in. We're ahead on shields, and Shadow Machamp ahead on shields can do very, very well. And Cofagrigus, if this thing's out of the way, can also generally do very, very well in the back. They've got a Shadow Nidoqueen, so we swap up straight away to see what they've got in the back. And they're swapping in a Alolan Sandshrew. Now, Alolan Sandshrew learns Night Slash, which is kind of scary for a ghost type, but also we figure, well, Alolan Sandslash's attack can't be that high, so we might as well let this through, see how much it does. And it does hit for a decent chunk, and those Powder Snows are starting to add up. So we're going to go straight for this Shadow Ball, hopefully take it out, but we do get the shield. That's fine. We're going to go for another Shadow Ball because we built up some excess energy. And now we're just going to hope that we can make it to a Psychic against this Shadow Nidoqueen before it takes us out. We might have to shield whatever it throws at us because a Poison Fang wouldn't do much at all, but it would be enough to take us out at this range. Can we make it to the Psychic? We do. Is this going to be enough to take out this Nidoqueen? It's going to hit hard. Ready? Bang! Takes out the Nidoqueen. We take the win. GG. Coffee Boy sweeping that team with the 2 shield advantage. Now let's take a look at this match from when I think we were ranked 7 at this point and against an Escavalier lead. This is the nightmare lead. Escavalier absolutely wrecks Registeel, so we're going to swap straight out to Shadow Machamp and see what they bring in, and they bring in a Rainy Castform. And Rainy Castform is an underratedly good choice in the Great League. It has Weather Ball, which is nice and spammy. It has Water Gun, which is nice, relentless damage output. And you can see it's really chipping away at us. We're going to shield the Weather Ball, and we're going to hope that we can get to 3 cross chops, which would be enough to take this thing out. Even if they decide, they do shield here, so we've got both shields out of them. And it is worth shielding this because we snuck a counter through, so we know we can make it to the cross chop as long as they're not at another Weather Ball already. I'm going to throw this straight away, take out this Castform. It's worth giving up both our shields to get switch advantage because Escavalier absolutely wrecks Registeel. So now we can get Coffee Boy locked onto it and we can see how much work it can put in. We bring him in, we're going to start Shadow Clawing away, and you can see those counters are doing very, very little to us. And we're looking pretty smooth sailing until they actually swap out and catch this Shadow Ball on a Mandibles, and look at that, it does almost nothing to the Mandibles. So we're going to build up a bit of energy before we swap out, just so we've got a bit closer to that Shadow Ball for when the Escavalier comes back in. Now we have to put some work in on this Mandibles. We got to get it low enough so that when because our switch clocks are out of sync because they caught a charge move, so we need to get this Mandibles low enough so that Coffee Boy can finish it off once the Escavalier is out of the way, because we know they're going to swap back before we can take out this Mandibles. Yep. So just as we get to the Flash Cannon, Escavalier swaps in, drill runs us, KOs as we lose all that energy. So now we're going to build up a lot of energy. We're just going to overcharge. We're going to build lots and lots because that Mandibles left with energy, and one foul play or Dark Pulse from that Mandibles might well knock us out. We're not particularly sure. So we Shadow Claw all the way down so we can throw a Shadow Ball straight away, and hopefully this is enough to KO from the range it was at. Bang, it just is. We take the win, we take them out. GG. So we got one more matchup I want to talk about, but I was really impressed with Cofagrigus' performance in this game. Now, we get a Dragonite lead, which is fantastic for Registeel. You wall all the energy, wall all the moves. The Dragon Breaths are not very effective. The Dragon Claws, the Outrages, the Hurricanes, it's all resisted. Draco would hit pretty hard, but not many Dragonites in Great League are running Draco Meteor. But we're going to just stop in here. Obviously, Shadow Machamp doesn't really want to see this thing, and I don't know what Cofagrigus' matchup is like with Dragonite. I imagine it does alright, but the spamminess of the Dragon Claws is probably going to be a pain in the long run. So we're probably going to let this go, yeah. And I think we're going to swap aggressively to quickly chip down the Dragonite and to tempt out whatever they've got in back that might also be weak to Registeel if they've stayed in with their Dragonite. And they bring in Empoleon, and I'm like, well, we're probably going to lose this matchup because the waterfall damage is going to add up, right? It's going to be too oppressive. But we're taking those waterfalls fairly well. Coffee Boy is pretty bulky for a ghost. Like, it is chipping down, but waterfall chips down everything. But they actually sneak a waterfall through, which is absolutely awful. Any Pokemon running waterfall and sneaking one through is awful for us. And they get a little greedy with their energy, and we're able to get to another Shadow Ball. So we're going to be able to deny all that energy, knock out this Empoleon, and that is... I was surprised at that in a slightly more drawn out matchup we were able to win against an Empoleon. But also they did get greedy with their energy, but if they had have thrown, we would have been able to shield it anyway, as we did have a shield left. We probably wouldn't have shielded it and then farmed down the Empoleon with Machamp anyway, but we would have had the option if we needed to, and that's going to be a good game. So I'm going to leave you guys with one more matchup, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're fantastic. If you're already subscribed, you're an absolute legend, and I will catch you all next time.